All right, so we're going to take a look at how to take a structure, a building, and get it set up to have portals, BSP, a box volume, and get it imported into the workbench for it to have the proper setup for a probe and the way the sound will work inside the building. I'm going to link a separate video uh, in the description of this video. That video will explain how to get Blender set up, how to set up a folder structure for stuff like this. So you don't need to watch that if you already have knowledge in Blender and the infusion tools and stuff like that. You don't need to look at that. You still may learn something out of it, but you may be on point if you've done this before or you're somewhat familiar with this process. So to go and get started, this structure here, this is something that was purchased online that I'm kind of messing around with. So I did not make this. I do not own, or I'm sorry, I do not have the, we won't call it, the rights to making this. I am simply just importing it into the workbench. So to go and get started, we're going to be setting up a BSP with just one door because the video would take too long to get it set up for all of these windows and doors and everything. The process for everything for the BSP is pretty much the same. Same thing with the portals. Essentially what you would do is you would take what we did with the one and you would apply it and do that same process for the rest of this stuff. So this structure is a little unique. It only has a bottom floor that is that you can enter. You can be in the second floor, but it just, there's no way to get up there. So I would need to figure that out. So we're going to focus on just this bottom floor. It's going to be kind of a unique shape because of what it is with the way this front is. So I have not messed with this particular object yet. So it's going to be kind of a learning experience. What I would recommend is kind of watch ahead a little bit and then kind of go back to where you want to start. So that way, if I mess something up or something like that, you know not to do it exactly how I did it and in the way that I end up fixing or correcting it. So let's look and see what we have here. So we've got our structure here. It's got these textures applied to it, which we're not going to focus on textures in this. This is going to simply be getting it exported to be able to work with portals and stuff like that. So these meshes are here. Part of what your workflow is going to be is getting the object set up, the size of it, everything's set up. Make sure it's working right with the portals. Make sure it's working right with everything in the workbench. And then you're going to want to get your textures going. That is kind of the workflow that I found out, because if you need to move a wall a little bit or move a open pathway a little bit, then you're kind of screwing around with where the texture is at in the UV map. So we're not going to be going over that kind of stuff right now. We're going to be focusing on just the structure and getting the structure ready for what we talked about. So first things first, with exporting, try to get it set up to where you are following the same folder structure as what Reforger does. I don't know why, but Farmhouse tends to be my go-to for how they do things. So if we look at the folder structure for the XOB, it is your project, assets, structures, houses, farm, and then farmhouse. So if we just go in the farm, all they have in here is just this one farmhouse. Inside houses, they have all kinds of other things, village houses, stuff like that. So, and again, this is your assets folder. Your assets folder is going to hold, where did it go? Your XOBs. Now, you will see extra types of files when you export. Other than the XOB, you're going to see the FBX and everything else, and that's normal. And then you have your data file. Oh, I'm sorry, folder. Your data folder is going to house all of your textures. It's going to hold your masks, stuff like that. I'm going to do a different video on texturing with Substance Painter and everything, and doing RGB mask and everything. That will not be covered in this video. I'm going to try to do another one as soon as I can. I just don't know when. So, and sorry if you hear me breathing in the mic pretty heavy. So here, this XOB, or I'm sorry, let's go to the one I'm working on. So let me get that kind of separated. So this XOB here, if you look, I follow pretty much the same folder structure. Okay, these are the other files I was talking about. So if I were to export, when I export, and you're not going to be following this exact setup right now. So that's number 9. So I would be exporting into that same folder structure. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it or not. Into that same folder structure, my project, assets, structures, houses, etc., etc. All right. So get that folder structure set up in the workbench before you start trying to export into, export from Blender into the workbench, so that way you can start exporting right into that folder. So with this structure here, I don't have a lot of extra stuff I have to combine and everything. This is assuming you have a structure and a building and everything ready to go, and your next step is the BSP and everything else we talked about. All right. And then the LODs and the collider and all that. So again, this structure is pretty basic. This is not going to be a highly detailed structure. So what we're going to start with first is setting up our BSP. The BSP is probably the hardest thing to make. And if you've made a structure yourself, you may find an appropriate time to make the BSP while in the middle of making the structure. So what we have to do here, because this is a pre-made structure, I did not make this, what we need to do is kind of follow the shape of this structure here. I'm still learning this, so just kind of bear with me. If you want to skip ahead to when I get this first part done, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking a cube, I'm going to be selecting some points inside the structure, and I'm going to be duplicating them to follow the shape of the interior of this bottom floor. And then what I'm going to be doing is duplicating that, resizing it up a little bit so that way it becomes a 3D shape. So kind of watch what I'm doing, but again, if you have your own structure, you're not going to be following this step by step. So I'm going to get started with the BSP. All right, so to get the beginning of the BSP, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure our object is selected. We're going to go into edit mode, or you can hit tab, and we're going to be on the edge select. So we're going to start selecting the edges of these corners of the structure, because we're going to want to follow the basic shape of this bottom floor here. All right, so we got all the basic shape followed. We're going to hold Shift, hit D, right click so it snaps back in place, hit P, and we're going to hit separate by selection, and then go back into object mode, hide the initial object, and you should see the basic structure that we pulled out. And what I want to see is, okay, so yep, those were there. Okay. So now we're going to go back into edit mode. We're going to make sure what we separated is selected, and we're going to select our edges, hit F to make a face, and then you're going to do this with each of these. You're just going to select two edges, hit F for face. You might even be able to do more than two at one time, but I'm just doing two at one time. Okay, and then there is our basic part of the structure here. Let's make sure all of these are facing the proper way. Where's it at? Face orientation. All right, so see how the red is facing outward? We don't want that with this object. There's a couple times you want the red facing outward, and that's going to be with the portals. With us starting up the BSP, we actually want the red to be on the inside. So still in edit mode, still with this selected, you're going to hit A for all, Alt, N, then flip. So all the red should be on the inside now. And again, if you're not seeing that, that should be in viewport overlays and then face orientation. Excuse me. So now what we want to do is we want to select all of these edges at once, these top edges now. And we're going to hit F again. And then we're going to select all these bottom edges. And you might even be able to do a loop select. So if you hold Alt and hit left click on the edge, you should select all of them. If that doesn't work, just go one by one and select them and hit F again for a face. So now you should have this, what looks like this right here. For some reason, what I use to show what keys I'm using is not working. Let's see. All right, here we go. So hopefully you'll be able to see that come up at the bottom now. All right. So I'm going to name this for BSP. You don't need to name it anything. You can just leave it default, but I like to try to keep it organized. And then I'm actually going to make a new collection that's called for BSP. Move that in there. Move this higher because we're going to end up hiding this later on. So again, this is not needed. That's just what I do, so that way I know where certain things are at. So if we look back at our main structure here, let's turn off face orientation. You can, if you right click on this, you can assign a shortcut. I use mine, or wait, how do I have it set up? Hold on. I have it as a quick favorite. So what did I do? Face orientation. Where is it at? Oh, you would do add to quick favorites. So then Q would bring that up. But I'll try to go in and out of that if I can. All right, so I got a little bit lost here. So we have the inside of our BSP. So let's hide this. What we're going to do now is have this item selected, be in object mode, and we're going to duplicate it. Hold shift and hit D, and then right click. It'll snap it back in place. Rename this, or rename it if you want. I'm going to rename it outside, because this will be the outside section of the BSP. And then we're just going to size it up a little bit. Just make it a little bit bigger. What am I doing wrong? I want it to... Why is it only going one direction? You know what? Because that dot is the point. Bear with me for a second. All right, so if the center of your mass of the object, I'm sorry, the center point of your object is off like mine was, right click with them selected and then do origin to center of mass, and that should bring it in the center. I think that's the proper way to do it. So I apologize if it's not. Actually, we don't want to be sizing both of them. We want only the outside sized, and that's why I renamed these so I know what they are. So let's go and size it up a little bit. And we can even go into X-ray view. Where is... Oh, you know what? Do this. Go to Preferences, Key Map, type in X-ray, and change this to W. I would highly recommend it. It was recommended to me to change this to W. And I really seriously recommend you changing that to W. So I'm going to go into X-ray mode with W, and we can see that the outside BSP is a little bit bigger than that inside BSP. And that's what we want. Let's see how it looks here. So it comes outside a little bit. We're gonna mess around with this BSP a little bit. We're gonna get it a little bit of a better structure to it. But this is a good starting point from what I've learned so far. So let's go ahead and select our outside object. We'll be in object mode. We're going to duplicate it again. Shift D, right click. And then I'm going to name this outside, because we're going to do a Boolean. So outside bool. And we are going to generate a Boolean. And we're going to use the BSP inside. So go ahead and apply this Boolean. And then we are going to move this into our collection here. All right, so now that we've got a BSP or an object we're going to set up for the BSP with a Boolean, we are going to turn off this collection with these two items because we don't need them right now. So if we hide the main structure and we go into X-ray vision, so I'm going to hit W, and then I'm going to go to my favorites, or I'm sorry, actually, I said I won't do that. So we're going to look at face orientation, turn off X-ray view as well. Let's make sure the inside of the structure is blue, which it is. We're going to see a little bit of red as we kind of transition into the inside the object. But this is what we want to begin the BSP right now. We're going to do a couple more things. So let's turn off the BSP right now. So this is our structure. Like I said in the beginning of the video, if you want your structure set up properly, each of these open ways, these open pathways here, you're going to want a portal and a open part of the BSP. So this is a little bit of a harder object to do because it's got this arch here. So I'm going to use this main front door here. For the BSP, to the best of my knowledge, you need just a minimum of one opening for it to work properly. But again, it's not going to be set up 100% properly. It's going to be the minimum because, again, for this structure, you'd want an opening for all of these. So I'm not trying to show you how to be lazy. I'm trying to show you how to get to a beginning point to learn this, to where you can start to apply it and actually make high quality structures the way that they're supposed to be made up. So this video would just take too long for me to show you all of that, how to do all of those. So we are going to take this door frame here. So if you made the building yourself and you already have a cube as a Boolean for the structure, that's how I've been doing my buildings. Again, I didn't make this one. This is something that was purchased. If you already have a cube as a Boolean, you can just apply it to this BSP here, and then that'll make the opening. With the actual true BSP, it needs to be applied though. So you'll want to make sure that you've got everything set up appropriately, that you've got things where you want them, because it's a little bit difficult to undo that Boolean. So if you're very experienced and you just want to know how to do this stuff, I'm wasting your time by talking about it. But what we want to do is get this exact doorway made for this Boolean. So how we're going to do that is we're going to go back into object mode with tab, and we're going to see where our vertexes and everything are for this. So let's see. Probably the easiest way is going to be to select the edges where are they at? Is it that one? No, those aren't lined up. All right. Again, if you have your own structure, it's going to probably be a little bit different than what I'm showing here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these two edges here, these two edges here, and I'm going to duplicate them with Shift D, right click, P to separate by selection. I'm going to go back into object mode so I can make sure I grab these. Go back into edit mode. And then I'm going to hit X and then dissolve edges. That way they get kind of merged because I don't need them to be separated. Select them again, dissolve edges so that way they're merged together. I'm going to select, oh, why did that not? Am I not doing this right? If you're experienced and you know what you're doing, you're probably laughing at me right now. Let's try dissolve vertices. There we go. All right, because I don't need that dot in the middle there. I don't need it. So we're going to go back into edge select, and we're going to make a face. And then we are going to choose face select. We're going to extrude this, and we're going to bring this out. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't tell you I hit the / on the numpad, so I went into isolate view. All right. So where does this put us with this BSP? All right, we are outside of that BSP and we do not want that. So let's see, what is going to be the best way? Let me think for a second. All right, so I need to make sure that this doorway, I'm not sure how that got so much bigger, but this doorway I'm going to be making as a Boolean, this cube I mean, matches the doorway. So what I want to do is make sure, I'm going to rename this. So I'm going to name this for BSP front door. So in X-ray view, in face select, in edit mode, I can click this dot here and hit G and then Z to bring up on the axis. And then I want to make sure this gets up higher. There is a way to do a magnet, and we can magnetize the face. So come up here to the magnet and hit face select, and it'll take a second for it to go away. And then make sure you have this face selected still, and then hit G and then Z. And see if you can go up and down. So you're on the Z axis only. Shift, tab, and then move your cursor to this face, this bottom floor face, and it'll limit its movement. It's moving it to that face. And then we're gonna want to do the same with the top of it, because the top of it is just a little bit too big. So we're gonna bring it down. Oh, mess up my buttons. I'm going to hide the BSP real quick so I can see this doorway. And then G to move the face, Z on the Z axis, turn the magnet on, so shift tab if it's not. And then we want to make sure the face we snapped it to is the right one. All right. Looks like that doorway is a little bit of crookedness to it, but that's okay for what we're doing with the BSP. The BSP needs squareness to it, and square angles, I should say. We don't want to have a curved thing here on it with this right now. We're going to just try to keep this as simple as we can. You can do, I'm pretty sure I tested an archway door with the BSP, and I'm pretty sure I got it to work. But for this, we're going to keep it with just square angles right now. So Let's see. Let's close. I'm sorry. You know what? We need to do our interior structure as well. I'm sorry, our side of our door as well. So kind of same idea. Go into X-ray mode, click the side, and then G, X for the X-axis. And then I'm just in a horrible spot, so I'm going to cancel that real quick with escape. And then G to move, X-axis, turn on your magnet, shift tab, and snap it to that door. I'm sorry, side of the door frame. Click this one. I'm going to move it inward a little bit so I have some space to work. And then with it still selected, G, X, turn on your magnet. And there you go. So the floor is good. The height should be fine on that. The sides of it. So we have the general shape of our doorway here. So let's turn off our main structure. Let's turn on our BSP. And we want to make sure that what we're going to do is not going to cut into this BSP too much. And it actually looks like it's going to cut into this a little bit. And we don't want that. Your BSP cannot have too thin of walls. So what we're going to do is actually bring this up just a hair to where we see a little bit of a step there. All right. So in object mode, and I apologize if I'm going fast. I'm just trying not to make this video incredibly long, which I normally do. So with your BSP, we're going to add a modifier. And this is not on the door. This is on the BSP itself. So add a modifier. Generate a Boolean. Choose the front door. And then where are we? In object mode. So let's hide the front door, and you should see you now have an opening in your BSP. All right. There is a it's called a model quality insurance. Wow. Yeah. Assurance in the Enfusion tools. If you don't see this list, hit N on your keyboard. Or hit this side arrow button here. Sometimes it's just easier just to hit N though. And then in the quality assurance, you're going to go to BSP. Make sure your actual BSP is selected. And let's hit our overlay. So it passed the inspection. So it did not fail. But if we go into edit mode, let's see if that changes at all. So it did not. So this actually seems okay so far. I've had problems with the BSP failing without applying the Boolean. So in my experience and what I've come across is that I need to apply the Boolean to make sure the BSP is proper, because if it fails in Blender, it is probably not going to work in the Workbench, even though you don't get an error in the Workbench. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this. And what I would say is that, actually, as a matter of fact, I just said it myself. You want to create some backups. So let's go ahead and let's do a collection. Let's rename this backups. And then, did I, hold on, I may have screwed up. Stand by. Okay. I wasn't sure if I duplicated the BSP and did messed up, so sorry. Let's name this collection backups. Let's put this underneath the for BSP, or it doesn't matter where. In object mode, let's copy this, duplicate it, I mean. Move this into backups. and then sorry about the alarm. Put that there. So this way, when we apply this Boolean, we have a backup in case we need one that's not applied. So let's go and close or disable our backups collection. We can actually move this into our BSP collection. And then let's retest the quality of this BSP with the Boolean applied. So I like to go into edit mode and object mode and make sure it's passing on both of these. Oh, BSP, that is selected. And it's passed on both. So right now we should have our BSP set up properly. Let's go ahead and check excuse me, the workbench and make sure it accepts what we've done. So we're going to select everything. We're going to go to export, and you can click on FBX, or what you can do is right click and add to quick favorites. So that way you can have it on the Q key. So what I would recommend is go into the workbench, right click inside the resource browser where your object is at, hit show and explorer, copy the location, and then go back to Blender, paste its extension there, and then there you go. It's right there. Now, I've already exported this FBX once, so that's why you see it. Yours may not be here, so you may not see it. On the right-hand side here, you are going to see a list of export properties. And I'm going to show you how to set up a preset where all you have to do is click here and choose your preset name. So the settings we're going to want on export, we're going to first off want to make sure we have the items selected we want to be exported. And I'm going to choose my preset. I'm going to show you how to make that here in a second. And let's go ahead and open all of this up. So you're going to want your export settings to be identical to what I have here. And we'll kind of go through them. So selected objects means that we're only going to be exporting what we have selected. So you can have all kinds of other stuff in here, and it'll only export what you have selected. We are going to change our object types to this. So to do this, you're going to click on empty, because all these will be selected for you. You're going to click on empty, and you're going to hold hold shift, and you're going to do armature, mesh, and other. And sorry that for some reason my what's recording the keys is not showing up on this screen properly like it should. So I apologize about that. So again, you're going to click on empty, hold shift, and you're going to do armature, mesh, and other. And then make sure custom properties is selected. Make sure these are all good here. Apply units, use space transforms, geometry. You want to make sure apply modifiers is selected. So what this does is if you have a Boolean applied, so what it does is if you have a Boolean applied or any other modifier applied to an object, you don't need to physically apply it, confirm the modifier to it. You can leave the modifier on the object without fully applying it. And it'll do that upon export. So that's really nice. In armature, we want to make sure we turn off add leaf bones for what we're doing with the building. We want that to be off. And then undo animation. So again, make sure yours looks like this. And then what you're going to do is you're going to come up here and you're going to hit the plus symbol. And you're going to name your preset. So I'll name this ARMA YouTube. Hit OK. And you can now see it in your list. So if you click that, right, this is what yours initially looks like. If you click the preset, there you go. So I am going to delete that one because I only need the one. Make sure you have it named in the export. Again, make sure you are exporting to your project so it exports directly into your project. We are going to go ahead and hit export. And now you'll see mine do something a little bit different than what yours is going to do. You're going to see mine import automatically because I've already exported this once. I'm sorry, imported this once. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to right click, register and import, and it's going to come up with a box that asks if you want to do it as a model or as an animation. What you're going to choose is model because, of course, this is a model. It is not an animation. And you should see it make these two items and then make a data folder. The data folder is what's going to hold your textures. So now that we have it registered and imported, we're going to see if this the BSP actually imported properly. But first, we actually need to tell it to import the BSP. So go and open up your XOB. And you'll kind of see in here what different things are. So we have these different materials. So what's cool is you can actually click isolate, and it'll show you what objects what faces in the object are used in that material. You can actually do this with standard meshes in the game. So we can go from materials to LODs. You can see how many faces and vertices things have, materials, all that kind of stuff. Colliders, we've not set up a collider yet. Same thing with an occluders. We don't have any of those. And that's kind of everything you'd be looking at for when you are making a structure. The BSP is actually over in this section, in the import sections. So we're going to want to tell it to import and generate the BSP. We want it to, where is it at? Export scene hierarchy, because that'll give us something to do with snapping windows and doors if we choose to use that. I believe those are the two main selections we're going to choose right now. So come up to your window settings, and we're going to want to view log console. This is going to be important for us to see. So go and clear the console because we want it to be fresh so we know if this imports properly. And click re-import. All right, the build was successful. We have no issues. It did not give us a BSP error. There is no BSP error in Blender. So our BSP is set up properly. So I'm going to move this log console off to a different screen, get it out of my way here. And we are going to open up the world editor. So go ahead and open up your world. And then I believe I have mine over here. So let me go into the proper folder that I have this in. Actually, I can probably just... Oh. Go over here. All right. So we have our XOB that we can place, right? So if I get rid of that and I place this one, you don't have to do it if it's already there. Our object is in the world, but it is considered a generic entity. It does not have the proper components that a structure will need. So if we look at this farmhouse, because that's the XOB, disregard, hold on. This is a prefab. So we're going to get this set up to become a prefab, right? So for example, this here is the XOB version because it's just a generic entity, but this actually has a name to it. It has stuff inside it, all that kind of jazz. And it's got that blue underline to it, the darker blue, not the lighter blue. This is XOB. This is prefab. This is what is it? Prefab entity. Is that right? I'm sorry, prefab library. So we're going to be making the darker blue version. Your house will want all of this, these components to it. The mesh object comes in default, but you need to add the rigid body, the destructible building component, world subscene, the RPL component, and the hierarchy. And you also want to change its class. There's a couple ways you can do this. You can place down a house. You can place this down and click and drag your XOB over. You can do that if you want, but look what happens. It keeps all of this. So you have to go through and delete everything. You can go in and you can manually add all of this stuff. You can change its class and go to its proper class. The easiest way to do this is there is a, it's called a build-in base. We can call it the build-in base block because it's just a square block, right? So if you look up in the resource browser, build-in base, you get something you can click and drag that has the proper class with the proper components with no other flair to it. There's nothing else in it. So what you can do is go into its mesh object and you can click and drag your XOB over into the object XOB here, and it'll bring everything over for the requirements for the mesh object for that item. So in rigid body, make sure you have model geometry and static check marked. That should be default. This build-in base block gives you literally that. It's a base block for you to just add the mesh object, and you should be able to go into the structure now, and it worked properly. And for some reason, my textures are having a rave. Why is that happening? That should not be happening. Oh, you know what? Do I have two here? Stand by. No? What in the world? So, made a mistake. I just realized that we forgot to properly name the BSP. So, we're going to go back into Blender. I apologize about this. This is going to be out of order. So, I got ahead of myself. So, we want to be back in Blender. And this is not named properly. So, what we can do is make sure in object mode this is selected. We're going to right click, go to edit Enfusion Bench Tools Objects, Collider. Oh, I'm sorry, not Collider. BSP Geometry. It's right in front of me the whole time. So it's going to name this this object here. The key thing here is that it is named BSP underscore. I had it for BSP because I forgot to rename it. We'll name this X9. All right. So now let's go back. Make sure it is. See, there we go. I knew something. It's too easy earlier. So notice how it has failed. So if we go into edit mode, it's got these convex faces or non-convex faces. So you need to see the error, what the failed object is. You need to see in edit mode. So we're going to hit A to select all faces. Make sure your BSP is selected. And then we're going to go to mesh, clean up, and then split concave faces. All right. So that is, let's get out of edit mode. Let's go to object mode. Sometimes I like to just turn this on and off just to make sure. Go into edit mode. And you don't need to keep clicking this. I do just to verify that it's still there. All right. So we've got our BSP. We've got this. It's pass and test. Go and make sure you save. And then go into object mode. Hit A to select all. Control A. And apply all transforms. And then we can go into File, Export, FBX. Again, I did a right click, and mine is a quick favorite. So add it to quick favorites. It'll show up as Q. So I'm going to hit Q. Oh, make sure you select everything. Hit Q. Export as FBX. It should bring you right to the directory you want it in. Again, you want it in your project folder. If this reset itself, choose your custom preset. Make sure you choose your FBX. Hit export. And it should reapply it automatically. It should re-import it. So if we go to our log console, oh, I don't want it there. All right. Clear your console. Make sure in the XOB it's still open. We're going to want to see it. Make sure it generates BSP. See in hierarchy. All right. So here we go. Now we're having an error. Try to create a rigid body component. I'm on structure. All right. Without geometry. I'm wondering if that's because the collider is not there. I'll have to look at that a little later. I'm not sure what that error is 100%. But let's go ahead and go back into our world editor. And there we go. It's not giving that texture issue. So what happened was I imported the BSP as an object and not as a BSP. So that's why that texture was glitching out. So let me turn on this here. This way you should be able to hear the game. All right. So to know your BSP is working properly, we didn't have any errors in Blender anymore. We cleared that error out that we got. On import, it did not give a BSP error that I'm aware of. So part of the BSP is sound. When you're inside the building, a gunshot is going to sound differently. So if we shoot outside, we hear kind of like that distant echoing, right? If we go inside the structure, it should sound different now. Nope, it is still an echo. Am I walking through the object? Ah, because we don't have a collider. Hold on. All right. So we probably need a collider for that to work. Let's see. We know right now that the BSP did not give that error on import. So let's go ahead and go back into Blender. And the collider is very easy to set up. So what you're going to want to do is have your main structure selected. Duplicate it, so Shift D. Right click so it snaps back in place. You want this to be exactly the same as the structure. With the duplicate selected, right click, go into the objects, collider, UTM. So it should give you this collider now, UTM underscore cube. With the tool still selected, go to materials, go to collider setup, and then the material will depend on what you want the material to be, right? These objects, these selections are what type of material is it made out of? Is it made out of glass? Is it made out of dirt? So on and so on. So you can have different colliders in this object, right? So just kind of bear with me real quick. You don't have to do all this. But if you look at like this wood beam, right? Or I'm sorry, this beam. Let's just say that's going to be wood. You can have that object be its own type of collider with material to where if you shoot that, it's wood. But if you shoot with the wall, let's just say the wall is concrete, it'll splash concrete. This will splash wood. That'll splash concrete. You would have to have those separated as different objects for them to be different colliders. That's a little bit more of a advanced thing to do, I'd say, right now. So right now, I'm just going to leave this all as one type of material. I'm going to say this is all just a... where is it? Where's concrete? There we go. So it's concrete. Now, there's different thickness of concrete. You've got where it's 100 millimeters thick, or it's at least a minimum of 100 millimeters thick. And you can change the thickness later on in an import. But again, that's getting above and beyond what we want to look at. So we're just going to choose concrete, and then it's layer preset. A layer preset is very important. It tells the workbench, the Enfusion engine, what to do with this item. Because right now it's just a prop. It's just literally just a 3D model we're bringing in. So we need to tell it that it's a building. It is part of a nav mesh. So we don't want to choose a no nav mesh. And we want it to show a bullet hole when it gets shot at. And I forget, there's another description, but I'm forgetting it right now. So the proper one, nonetheless, is build-in fire view. So go ahead and apply that, and you're going to see that it's going to apply a different type of scene to it. All right. So in object mode, hit A, Control A, apply all transforms. With everything still selected, hit Q, export as FBX. This should all still be standard unless you've closed your application. So choose ARMA if you haven't. Go and export. And here we are. So let's go back to this. We don't need to do this. It should automatically re-import. But just to check our console log, let's re-import it. And look at that. We do not have that red error that we saw. So moving this off screen. Let's go back into the world. And let's see if sound works properly here. So, rings off in the distance like it should. And it's still ringing off in the distance inside. All right. Let's see and make sure. Yep, it is a, we're going in the right structure, right? All right, it is a destructible building entity. That is very important. Mesh object, nothing should be in there. It's got a world subscene component, RPO, hierarchy, rigid body. Those are selected. So it may be that a portal is not set up. And like I said in the beginning, this is my first attempt at this structure. So we're kind of learning this together. So let's go back into Blender. Here is our BSP. Let's make sure. All right, it did not fail there. Did not fail in import. So I wonder if it's because we need a portal. I thought it didn't, but let's see. All right, so we have a couple different ways we can make a portal. You can do, what's the best way to put it? Let's see. So you can add what's called a socket, and a socket, and I'm sorry, you can do what's called add a socket and then generate a portal off of that socket. A socket will allow you to just snap a door or a window to it later on. They're not required. It does make it a little bit easier, but we're just going to just add a socket just to show you that process, and then how to generate portals from it. This isn't required. You can just add a where is it at? A plane, and apply the plane as a portal, or you can do this method with a socket. So I'll show you both of them. So in object mode, you're going to do Shift A, go to Mesh, and we're going to, I'm sorry, not mesh, empty, an empty plane axis. All right, it's going to spawn it up in the middle here. So let's go and move it out. So give me 1 second. Let me try and see why this is not showing up on this screen here. All right, so this should be working now. It should be showing you what I click. All right, so back on track. So with our plane axis selected, and I'm saying words wrong at this point, but it's all right. We can move it on the axis that we want it to be on. So let's get it. This is going to be for a door. So for a socket for a door, you want it to be on the bottom of the entryway, I believe. And you want it to be in the exact middle of that point. So let's turn on our magnet here, which is already on face. So let's turn off our BSP for a quick second. And we're going to hit G to move. Move it only on the Z axis. So hit Z, Shift, Tab to snap. And we're going to snap it at, why did it? There we go. That's better. And then what we're going to want to do is get it in the middle of this face here. So select your house in object mode, go to edit. And we are, what is going to be the best way to do this? We got this face here. So what we can actually do is poke this face. So hit F3, type in poke or find poke on the list. So you can just type it, poke it, and it's going to give you an exact middle here. So change our snap into vertex, because we're going to grab that vertex right in the middle. So go into object mode, so hit tab, grab your socket, move it, turn on your magnet, and you can magnetize it right to that spot. So it is actually literally even with the floor and in the dead center of it. So we are now going to go back to the house, go back into edit mode, and then on face select these faces. What is it? X, hit X, and then dissolve faces. So we're kind of merging all those faces back to what it was. All right. Let's just say you've got this window here. There is a way to kind of do that same idea inside this window. You would make what would be the best way to put it? You would loop cut the center here, the center of this face, and the center of this face around. You would make a face so you have a exact split in the middle. You would make a face that goes from this side to that side or top to bottom, doesn't matter, and then you poke the face in the middle, and then you move your socket there, and then you dissolve all those faces again. So it's a little bit of a process, but that is how you would take care of that window. Same idea here. I'll show that in a different video when I actually show a video of making it from scratch. So go to object mode, select our socket. We need to name this. So at F2, socket underscore door socket door exterior 01. I think the most important thing is socket underscore, and then door or window, and then whatever you want to name it. So with this selected, we can right click, and let's see if this works. We're going to make this a socket. So now it puts it in the memory points. So that's what we want. So we can use this to make a portal. So let's go and save. It's very important you save at this point because when you make the portal, it may give an error. And if you do something wrong, it's going to cause this to crash and you go backwards. So let's not do that. So let's get our... we can leave our BSP turned off right now. No, actually, we need it open. I'm going to show you something. So don't do this step yet. This is going to give an error, and I want you to see the error. So we're going to go in Portal Tools, and I'm going to hit Generate Portals. And then if you look at the bottom here, we got an error. It's saying this stuff cannot be hidden. 4BSP inside can't be hidden. And then also backups cannot be hidden. You also need a collider set up as well. So pay attention if you see this error at the bottom. You're also going to notice this come up. I'm 99% positive this should not generate if you're doing this correctly. So the most important thing here is that you don't undo. You cannot undo, because if you undo, you're going to crash Blender. And that's why I said a minute ago it's important to save. So what we want to do is right click on it and then delete hierarchy. All right, and then go and save again so we have a better backup point. And then we have to show everything, but we're gonna re-hide these here in a minute. All right, so everything on your list needs to be visible. It needs to be check marked, and it needs to be unhidden. You need to be able to see everything. All right, and again, you need a collider. It's a certain type of collider, but we have the proper one here. There's a couple different ones it needs. This is one of the ones it needs. So we are now, you can follow along. Make sure, again, everything here is selected and visible. Everything on that list needs to be that way. So you can hit Generate Portals. All right, why did it not do it? There we go. Oh, maybe it did and I didn't notice. I apologize if I did that. So we're going to delete that one because we only need that one portal. So if everything worked properly, you got no error, and you did not get that thing we deleted a minute ago, you should see what is called PRT_01. So go ahead and re-hide this stuff because we don't need that anymore. We're going to hide the BSP just so we can see what this portal is. All right. And then we got our memory socket here. So notice how this portal actually fit the bounds of this door. Sometimes it will do it. It'll actually make this the right size. Other times it won't. The next important thing we want to look at is our face orientation. So if we come up here, this one here, and we go to face orientation, or if we do Q and then face orientation, if you did a quick favorite to it, this is the one time you actually want this object, the face of the object, the red facing outwards. So for portals, the red is going to face towards the outside, not the inside. So if your portal, the red is facing inside, what you're going to do is click on the portal. In object mode, you're going to rotate it. So hit R, Z, so you're rotating on the Z axis, and then start to rotate a little bit so you know what the number in the top left corner says. It's right underneath object mode. You're going to see rotation, and you're going to see the number get higher. So if you need to rotate it to the right to where the red is facing right, you know it's going to be a positive number. So you can actually hand key in 90. And if you hit enter, it'll snap it to that point. If it's a simple 180, just type in 180. If it's the other way, if you need it to go left, notice how we're going in the negatives. So you would do -90. All right. I'm going to hit cancel because I don't need to rotate this. This is actually set up almost perfect. Let's see if this actually goes through. Let's look at the portal itself here. It doesn't have a material assigned to it. So if we export this right now, it's not going to know that it's going to need a material assigned. So we want to physically or manually add our own material. If it added a material for you, fantastic. Excuse me. You don't need to change it, or at least you shouldn't later on. So what we need to, in object mode, select this, go down to materials. Make sure we don't have a portable material in this list that just didn't assign, so it doesn't look like it. So we're going to hit new, and then rename this PRT_MAT_ front door. And this will make sense here in a minute. So it should have this assigned to it. So turn back on our BSP. So make sure everything we're wanting right now is selected, or I'm sorry, is open. Click back in the world, hit A to select all, Control A, apply all transforms, hit Q, and we're just going to be re-exporting like we've done before. I'm not going to keep repeating what those steps are. All right, now let's go in the world and let's test it. It is still not working properly inside. I bet you it's something so silly that I'm doing wrong right now. That is the way how it works, right? Alright, so we know it's not working in there. It's alright. Oh, I forgot to check my log console. Let me check that real quick. Because we did a portal. So come back into this section here. Hit clear console, re-import, and let's see what's happening. Doesn't have vertices assigned. Check the model it's leaking. Doesn't have reachable areas assigned. All right. So did it generate our portal? Yep, it did. Okay. So this is where it gets to be important. I've not been able to successfully make my own portal material for some reason. I use the ones that are vanilla in game, but I'm going to show you how to do it real fast. So click on this. So you're in the XOB. You're going to click on this material. You're going to change it to a, where is it at? Matte light portal. And then go and save. It's projection map. So the projection map is going to be almost like a shadow or like a light coming through a door. Where is it at? No, I don't want to be an ARMA 12 project. There it is right here. So if you see this is kind of what I'm talking about. It's like a shadow or the light coming through. So there's only one in projection mats for a door. So I'm going to hit OK, save, and then let's just see if that even worked. So let's actually go ahead and save this and reopen our world. I'm going to clear console, and then let's go in. Let's see if we notice what it's showing it. No, not right now. That might be because the portal was leaking. So, it's all right. So let me, let me clear console. Let me re-import it just to see if, I doubt that fixed it, but let me double check. Oh yeah, we had to re-import it. I know it's still leaking, so let's go back into Blender and let's see what is going on. So go into X-ray view. Let's see what our BSP looks like. So let's turn off our main structure. Let's turn off our collider. We can close socket too. So It looks like it's set up right inside the BSP. Not sure why it would say it's leaking. Very strange. This happens sometimes though, right? It is ARMA after all. Yeah, it's like perfect. Why would it? All right, let's just try to change the size of it, I guess, a little bit. So let's go to our portal. And go into edit mode, select the edge, and then select the left side, hit G to move it, hit X, so it's only on the X axis it's moving it. And then let's just do this. Let's just make it a hair wider, I guess. So this is the Z axis. If I can talk and use words properly. I don't really know if we need to make it any bigger than that. So go and save. All right, turn everything back on. That's back on that we want. All right. Go in object mode, select everything. Let's just make sure all transforms are done again. Q. And we're just going to re-export. Doesn't have vertices assigned. Seven faces were incident to. Sorry, okay, I'm just looking at the log console here. Has many almost coplanar faces producing too many similar split planes. Clear console. Is the BSP failing again? Shouldn't be. All right, so let's try this. With the BSP selected, I'm going to hit A. I'm going to mesh, clean up. Save. And you may not be doing this if your BSP is working properly. Sorry you're having to deal with all this too. On 7 faces are incident with selected split plane. Check model. It possibly has almost coplanar faces producing too many similar split planes. Why would it? Mesh. I think that's going to be part of the problem there. I think it has to have 4. But why would it not dissolve faces? All right. Sorry if you're having to go through this with me. Again, this is just part of the process, right? Dissolve faces. All right. I'm just testing just to see if that did anything. I want to see if that number went down. No, it still has 7 faces that were incident with selected split plane. It's interesting. Yep. So it just went up a number. All right, so I've not been able to get the exact issue with the BSP figured out, and the light portal. It's very common. I'm going to keep moving forward just in case these just end up fixing themselves with the other things that we need. I've had that happen before myself. And also that way I can get this video done in time for people that want to see this. So we're just going to kind of move forward and assume things are working properly for you right now. And I know it's kind of silly, but it could take me a long time to figure out that issue, and I don't want to be spending my time doing that right now. I want to be able to get this video out there. So I do apologize, but let's kind of recap what we got here. We've got our base structure. We've got our BSP, our first portal, our collider, and the socket for the door, which for some reason went back to the center there. I'm not sure why I've had that happen before. That's okay. I'm not going to worry about that right now because I'm not trying to use the socket right now. So let's see what would be our next thing. Let's do our box volume. So if you've made the structure yourself, this may be a bit easier for you than than people like me that are using a pre-made structure. So a box volume has to be a square or rectangular object. I don't believe it can have a shape like what this is here. Okay, it does have to be a square or a rectangle, I believe. So what I've got to do with this is if I look at the shape of this here, it's kind of an odd shape, right? It's kind of, let's see. Let me turn off my BSP and my collider. It's almost like I might be able to do, I might be able to get away with one big square kind of shape and kind of one more smaller rectangular shape. Or I might mean to do, what would that be? 1, 2, 3, 4 rectangular shapes. So I'm going to try, probably try kind of the more bigger square and a smaller rectangle. So we're going to, let me think what is going to be best to do this. I'm going to start with this smaller square first. So these don't have to be super precise. Essentially, the outside of the box volume is going to be in the middle of the wall. So I want to be in object mode. I'm going to do Shift A to add. And I'm going to add a cube. Oh, not a plane. I apologize. I'm going to add a cube. All right. And again, I'm in X-ray view, which I made my W key I showed you earlier. And we're going to change our magnet to snap to face. And let's go ahead and let's just move this cube up. And let's go into object mode, go to face. So 3 on the keyboard or select face. And you're going to see a dot. If you're in X-ray mode, which I am in right now, you're going to see a dot in the middle of each face. So if you're trying to select somewhere else around it, you may not be able to select the face. You want to actually try to get as close to the dot as you can. And we're going to move this on the X axis. And we're going to turn our magnet on and go to face just so we can see it's right about there. Again, doesn't need to be exact, but it just helps us get it close to where we can move it a little bit more into the middle of this object. So we go outside of X-ray. There we go. Go into X-ray mode again. We may not even need the magnet. Oh, wrong axis. Again, about the middle. You can get that precisely in the middle if you want. There's a way to do it, especially if you made this structure yourself. Middle. And then you're going to want the floor and the ceiling as well. This may be a little bit harder to navigate because of what it is. Again, we want it to be past the part of the wall that you see. So I'm just going to leave that higher up there. And then bring in this to about here. Now, I do believe your volumes, your box walls, can actually overlap each other. And that's what I'm kind of going with here. So let me get out of this. And we are going to this cube we made. We're going to have it selected in object mode. Make sure it's selected. Right click and make this a box volume. And it should apply all this automatically for you. So I'm going to save, turn everything back on, select everything, apply all transforms, and let's go ahead and export. And let's see what my console log looks like. So it's still giving me a possible BSP issue. And that's the thing. That's why I kind of move forward, is because this white error is kind of just like a, hey, there may be an issue from what I understand. You don't want this. You really don't. Excuse me. It just, for the purposes of this video, I moved on. Obviously this this yellow here, that's not good. We will want to try to address that still, but, I'm just moving forward from it right now. So the box volume here, you're not going to really notice anything with it yet. What we want to do now is make this into a prefab, and we could have done this earlier. We're just going to go ahead and do it now, though. So with prefabs, how the Workbench has it, right, or how ARMA has it, prefabs are actually in a prefab folder, right? You go to ARMA Reforger. Where's it at? Prefabs, and then they are in their own folder structure. We are going to follow that same idea, right? So prefabs, structures. What did I do? Houses, Arab, and then I believe this one is named 9. So we're going to make a new folder, and we're going to call this that object name. And then the build and base block that we placed, that we then overrode the XOB on, you want to click and drag that into the folder, and you're going to name it whatever you want to name it. I'm going to name it Arab underscore X9 because that is the name of the pack, so we're giving credit to the pack. And then let me delete that. And we can click and drag our prefab here. And notice how it is now officially that. Still can't see the box volume. We need to apply a probe. So what we're going to do is we're going to double click on our prefab. We're going to edit it. And actually, I'm sorry. Let's go back for, let's close this. Save everything. I have issues if I have the object open there. I have issues with it crashing. So we want to make sure the world editor is closed. And then, as a matter of fact, I apologize about this. Let's make sure we don't have it selected at all. So it's not selected. Let's just select something else. And then close the world editor. And let's find it in our list. And this may not be necessary, but I don't want it to crash while doing this. Hopefully this fixes that. So we're going to edit the prefab. And we're going to look for house probe base, I believe is what it's called. Or probe house underscore base. And we're going to click and drag it into our entity here. And now you can see it's given us this box. And the probe is connecting itself to that box. And when you get inside, this is like this here. So the issue I tend to get is that it makes it very dark. It doesn't look right. I'm going to show you in the world what I mean. So if we place, I like to use a couch. Don't ask me why, but oh, you know, it's called sofa. Never mind. All right. Ooh, that might actually. No, I don't think it's working properly. It's all right. This is what I wanted to show you guys. Notice how when we get in here, it doesn't look right until we get like right on top of it. It's because the box volume, the probe, and quite honestly, probably even the BSP just are not functioning right now. This is very common. This happens to me almost the first try every time. Notice how dark the character is too, right? And this is the line of the box volume that we made. This is the line of it right here. So let's set up our other box volume and see if that fixes it. So we can go ahead and duplicate this box volume. So in object mode, Shift D, and then right click, and let's just move it away from it. We're gonna go in X-ray mode, and it should be along that far back wall like we need it to. So what we're gonna do is let's first, with it selected in object mode, let's make this box volume again, even though we don't really need to. It's just to rename it. So go to edit. We're going to be on face selection. So face selection. And we're just going to move this to outside of that. Why? Making sure it's inside the middle of the structure. And actually, we may need to bring this one out some more. And then select this one and bring it out to here. So let's just see what this does. Select everything, apply all transforms. Let's see what that does. Look at that. Makes it look weird. So, you know what? Let me I'm going to try 3 smaller ones. So I'm going to skip to me having these 3 smaller ones done. All right, so let's see. These all should be overlapping. Let's see what this gives us. Oh, gotta make sure I select, turn all those back on. Transforms. No, still not working properly here. All right. Let's see. It's still giving me that portal error. I'm not entirely sure why. But aside from your LODs, which can be pretty easy to do, there is actually a where is it at? This right here, LODs maker by this person. The name's actually right here. I'm sorry. What's pretty cool is, and I'll do it right here. You can click on your main object and it'll make several LEDs for you. It's not perfect. They're not set up like 100% what you want them to be, but it makes it easy just to test things out. Also, when you do what do I want to say? The MLODs or any of the farther LODs, there's a certain way to do them with the MLOD texture and color palette, stuff like that. I'm not going to go over those entirely in this video, but to get just a general idea out there, you can use this add-on as just a basic way to get LODs made. For some reason that I cannot figure out right now, this portal is not working properly, and it's, along with the BSP, it's causing this to not work. So I'm going to try to cut to when I figured that out and how I figured it out. All right, so I managed to somehow get one of the errors for the portal fixed. I really don't fully understand it. I just clicked on this bottom face here. I right-clicked and hit subdivide, which gave this error. I'm going to undo that just so you know. And then I did subdivide again, and it got rid of the error. So I went ahead and exported into the workbench. And now certain things are working properly. So notice this. This is the material I was talking about for the doorway. And then the way this is, notice the difference in the sound. All right, it's more, oh, that's cool. It's like ricocheting. It's muffled. It's more of an interior sound. So that managed to fix itself somehow. Go figure. And then I'm still getting an issue with the BSP because if you look, the portal's not doing what it needs to be doing. So I'm going to skip towards when I figured that out and how I figured it out. All right, so I was able to get the yellow error to go away where the portal's not leaking. I'm not sure exactly what I did. I was messing with one of these faces and it just got it to work. So it didn't appear to be the portal itself. It appeared to be something with the BSP that just wasn't getting caught in the quality checker. So I'm going to go ahead and re-export. Get highway, make sure my structure is set up right. And then I'm still getting this error. It doesn't seem to be giving me a huge issue right now. So I'm going to go and clear console. Just want to import next. It's fresh. Move it out to the side. So right now, the probe itself is still not working. If we go into the building, the color's still not appropriate. It doesn't transition like it should. But because the BSP should be good now with the portal, let's see if the sound works. Yep. All right. Sound is muffled inside like it should be. Listen to the difference, right? Echo, more compressed and muffled. So to now get our probe going, we want to go back into the mesh object, and the material here is the one that we brought in, right? It's the PRT matte front door. We made it a matte light material. I've not been able to get that to work. I have to use the vanilla asset ones. So if you look up PRT door, you'll come across this section here. I'm going to click and drag that over. Go and save. And then you have to re-import. All right, I'm going to clear my console and re-import again. All right, it's giving me the A sheet with the faces, but that's okay for right this moment, I believe. And then if we go back into the world editor and let's reopen the world, we're going to see it's still not doing what we want it to do. Sound is still there, so that's good. So we have a couple more things. We are actually going to we're going to use a vanilla texture. So we're just going to grab that one. We're going to go I need to move my screen around a little bit. So I'm going to have this split like this. And watch what happens. This should hopefully work. Where did that... Where'd it go? All right, so let me refine this. There we go. So we're going to bring this over and we're going to move it into the tile floor. Stone wall. Rusty metal. And then wood. And let's re-import. And there we go. So of course, again, these textures, it's not what we are trying to do with the structure. All right, but we're getting it to work with this probe for right now. Let me choose a different texture because I believe that texture is causing kind of those flashing. Let's go interior 2 and let's just... Oh, did I choose the MLOD? Yeah, that's why. Re-import. All right, and that should stop that flashing like that. So if you look, our character it just isn't completely surrounded by like a dark light. The sound is still proper. We don't have the portal material like we should here, but that's okay. I'm sorry, the portal light, like I should say. And once you get your windows and your doors and everything set up here and the texture set up properly, like this will obviously look a lot better. So let's move on into furniture. So for furniture, we're going to look at see how vanilla does it. So you have your structure name. So there's this farmhouse. And then they have its name and then furniture. And they actually use what is called a built-in furniture base entity. So let's see. Where do they put the... of course, they bring it here. Okay, so they use a folder called furniture. So let's do that same thing. Let's go to our structure. Furniture. And then let's place a prefab here. And then to bring it over into our world, into that exact folder, just click and drag from hierarchy and 9. Oh, I keep adding an extra N. All right, go and save. And select off of that object, just choose something else. And then let's open up the house's prefab. And we're going to edit prefab. And now click and drag this furniture into the structure. And then let's start looking for some stuff we want to add. Let's add the sofa again, because we know what that's looked like before with an error. We're going to add everything to the furniture spot. Yeah, they call it TV. TV set. All right, that's enough right now. All right. So go and reopen the world. And you should now see those items in the world. And we can actually modify them in this world here. So go to the furniture, turn select parent on and then off again, because sometimes it glitches. And select your furniture, control down with a snap to this. And let's just move them all kind of where we think we might want them. Let's just say we rotate them here. Bring that desk over. And there we go. So select these items and then hit apply to prefab and make sure it is the furniture prefab you're applying it to. Hit OK. And then this way, if you place this down again, those items are kept where they're at. Because watch, if we move this and we rotate it and we save, if we place another house down that's like it, they're back in their original spot. And I believe even if you reload the world, I think those items will snap. Oh no, they stayed there actually. Okay, I could have sworn they were going to snap back to where they belong, but it will only apply to that one structure that you had placed. So make sure you are doing the apply to prefab for that furniture base. If you want a house with a different furniture set, you would need to duplicate this and maybe call this like, you know, whatever this house name is, set 2, and then make a different furniture set, and so on and so on. Let me... I do believe that is most everything so far. Sound still works. You can still come in. You can exit. If you want to add doors, I did forget to say this because I did it in a different set of the video that I'm not going to be adding to this. So the furniture is in its own prefab. The windows and doors and everything else are in the actual structure's prefab itself. So when you add doors and things like that, you want to make sure, excuse me, it is in this prefab when you're editing it. So it's in here. So let's go and do that real quick. Let's go and add a, so they're called door set. And I think the one village, door set. Let's see. This one doesn't look... it's a little bit of a smaller, bigger door than what I thought it was. But... no, let's just use a different one. What about this? All right, these are going to be a little difficult to work with, but this just gets the point across. Make sure that when you place it, you're placing it in the main prefabs item. If you place a door here, do not rotate it until you get it into its hierarchy. Because if you rotate it out here, I am telling you right now, you will regret it. It is going to give you a world of problems because it's going to start messing with all this other stuff. So we give ourselves a couple doors. Let's give ourselves a window. The window. What do they call them? Prefabs. Let's just... and I'm not sure why. Oh, whatever. Obviously, that doesn't look good, but let's just see. So, come up, open the door, works, we come inside, and here we are. So, obviously this has been kind of a dirty way of doing it. And it also applied to these over here, because again, we applied it to the prefab, what is being placed there. So, I can't think of something else I need to go over right now. Again, you guys struggled with this, or with me through this. So I will try to do another video on doing textures and doing masks, stuff like that. That, just like most everything else I've done, it's not going to be perfect by any means. So hopefully this helped you. If you have any questions, let me know, and hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Thank you.